A Nintendo Switch 2 revision is coming in 2027. Now, this is great in so many different ways. It brings a lot to the tables because we can all admit that the Nintendo Switch 2, the battery sucks, and this is pretty much where this whole thing kind of comes to play. So, what's going on, everyone? How's your day going? Let's get straight into the video. So starting everything off, if we look at this right here, you can see that Nintendo might be planning to add some sort of revision that allows you to hot swap the battery. Because this is great in many different ways, because we can all say that the battery for the Switch 2 isn't the greatest. You can really get maybe an hour or 30 minutes on a full charge if you're playing a game that is like very intensive, which isn't great. It's not great for a portable system. A portable system, you really got to keep that in mind. You can take this anywhere you want, but if you can only play for like an hour, let's just say you're on a car trip for maybe 4 hours, well then you really got a problem if you're trying to play this thing all the way through. But then it honestly seems like this right here is great. And it's not just that, because if you look back at the Nintendo systems before the 3DS, you can easily just remove the battery within like 3 steps. You unscrew the back, you open it up, you take the battery out, and there you go. You're pretty much done. You can replace the battery. With the Nintendo Switch 2, however, you really have to dig deep in there. You're probably going to break a couple things if you actually go and manage to take out the battery. It really is a whole tedious process to go inside the Nintendo Switch 2, try to find the thing, unscrew everything, undo the glue, undo all of the adhesive, undo the heatsink, go underneath it, and it really is a whole mess to get this thing. But it seems like from this, Nintendo is planning something to do with battery replacements in the future. Now, of course, if you already have a Nintendo Switch 2, this isn't going to work for you. You're going to have to buy a whole new Nintendo Switch 2 if this really cares, if you really care about any of this. But hey, it's probably going to be your Nintendo Switch 2 V2. If you remember, the Nintendo Switch had a V2 version in 2018, because if you don't remember, that system right there had a couple issues that Nintendo noticed and didn't want to spread like wildfire, which it technically has already by then. We were able to put the system into recovery mode, and yeah, let's just say you were able to mod the system from there and do whatever in the world you wanted to it. Nintendo decided to jump in and give a Switch 2 V2 that added extra battery life, and most importantly, got rid of the feature to have recovery mode. So there goes that. But now, in 2027, could Nintendo be planning a Switch 2 Lite? Or is Nintendo just going to add this to the base model, call it the Switch 2 V2, add a bigger battery or something like that, and there you go? This definitely could be it, but if you also look in 2019, you saw the Switch Lite, which the Switch Lite was definitely a great system, and it was easy to hold, so you could technically just sell a Nintendo Switch 2 Lite for what, $300, and allow you to swap out the battery, because the most important thing about a portable console is of course the battery life, because you want it to last long. But if you're planning to use your Nintendo Switch 2 as just a simple dock machine, you don't technically need this hot swappable battery, unless it would be nice, but you don't technically need it because you can play the Nintendo Switch 2 without a battery if it's directly plugged into the wall. So that definitely does work, but a Switch 2 Lite would work really well. Now, how exactly would this work? Because we've talked about how the Nintendo Switch 2 battery is pretty much sealed into the console. Well, it seems like they might actually try to do something like the Nintendo 3DS, because that worked out really good. You can just say, hey, I'm just gonna go and order a battery, switch it out, call it a day. I got myself a brand new battery, which is really great in many different ways. So this definitely could be what is happening here with the Switch 2, but I honestly think it's really interesting that, hey, Nintendo actually might return to swappable batteries. It's honestly fantastic, because if you don't remember, you were able to pretty much swap batteries out of actually anything. Like phones, computers, like anything you can really think of electronic, you were able to switch the battery out at some point, which is really, really awesome, and I can't wait to see this return. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this is actually going to be a reality? Nintendo's planning something. Is it going to be a Switch 2 Lite? I honestly think that it could be a Switch 2 Lite, because let's just say that there is not going to be any shortages. Depending on these shortages and things, we can either see a switch to Lite, because if there is a shortage, well then it would be cheaper to just make a Lite, and then there you go, you can have the hot swappable battery, sell it for $300, or if it's bad shortage, just 400 maybe for that, instead of if you were going to go and make yourself an OLED screen, add swappable batteries, add a whole bunch of things. You could probably assume that maybe they could do something for the joysticks or even the batteries inside the remote. Make it super easy to actually switch it out. Because if you looked at the PlayStation, if you looked at the PlayStation 5 or the Pro controller, you are able to switch out those joysticks really easily. And one way that Nintendo could definitely do this is just by, if they added a little lever that you can open up the shell, you can see the components, you can unplug the stick, and there you go. It would essentially count as a hot swappable stick, which those are so handy, especially if you're prone to getting joystick drift, or for some reason you like to eat chips and play video games. Yeah, your controllers are definitely going to get all gummed up, so I definitely think that this right here is great. I honestly hope for a Nintendo Switch 2 Lite. I think that right there would be really cool, but also the Switch 2 just standard OLED would also be cool. Let me know which one you would prefer more. Would you want just the original with the hot swappable battery, an OLED, or a Lite? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed. Consider hitting the like button, maybe subscribing if you are new. We do a bunch of different Nintendo content on this channel. That being said, see you in the next one.